Hello. I just wanted to go through the Auto RTL feature. This is a sort of commonly requested feature, which, as the name implies, allows us to effectively do an RTL, but along a predefined path as we would in an auto mission. So at the moment, I think this is a less known about feature within ArduPilot, but we have had it for a little while. The key thing to it is what's known as the do land start mission markers. So I'm just going to explain how you sort of set out your mission. And to do that, I've got an example. So in this scenario, I'm flying a copter and I need to fly my copter through a narrow strip of airspace that I'm permitted to fly. So in this example, I've used the exclusion fence to kind of illustrate these are areas that I don't want to fly over, they're sensitive areas, and I'm trying to get my copter out, do something like a survey in this example, and then come back along it. But what I want is for my RTL behavior, so for my fail-safe behaviors, to then result in coming back along this careful path. So I've laid out my mission as if it was a normal mission, going to go out, do the survey, come back. But what I've now added in is these do land start markers. Now, if we have a look, so we've got waypoint 15 here, which is here, and then waypoint 17, which is here. And between the two of them, I've now got this do land start. And notice that I have a do land start between each of the waypoints all the way back to the landing. Now what that means is, so from this point onwards, so basically waypoint 17 here, we're now marking in the mission that when we go into the Auto RTL flight mode, that means that the copter is going to search to find the closest do land start that it can to then return along that mission. The reason for the numerous do land starts is because let's say the copter is halfway on its way out, and let's say we have a GCS failsafe. What we want is for the copter to not fly all the way out to where we first put a do land start. We want it to find the closest do land start to then RTL. So that's a brief overview of the mission. I'll do a few demos to illustrate the different behaviors. Before I do, I just wanted to sort of explain a little bit about the fail-safe options and or how you set that up. So let's look at battery fail-safe parameters, for example. So much like you would set, it's an action, much like you would set for an RTL, but the option you want is this one here. So it's the auto do land start or RTL. So what we're saying is, if we have a mission that has do land starts in it, that is the behavior we'll go to. But in the event that we don't have that loaded onto the vehicle, then we default to a standard RTL behavior. And you can do all sorts of things, like you can check to make sure, you put arming checks on to make sure you've got missions loaded and that kind of thing as well, if you need to make sure that you have that auto behavior in there. Okay, so we'll start out with the, I'm running Citl. This is got from the simulation tab in Mission Planner. And what we will do then is let's see the vehicle heading out, and if we get an RTL or an auto RTL, sorry, when we're out doing the sort of survey part of the mission. So if I put in auto first, okay, and we're off. So I've got the sim speed up just to sort of make progress through the mission a bit quicker. Okay, so our copter's got to our area of interest and it's doing its job. And let's say for whatever reason, we've had a battery failsafe and the behavior is now set to go into an RTL Auto RTL. So I'll just replicate that by setting the flight mode to Auto RTL. And now the copter has come to our first do-land start and is now heading back along the leg. So that's the sort of the basic behavior. What I want to demonstrate next is well, what happens if we do the Auto RTL on this leg, so before we get to that point. Now, this is the important part of this is why we need numerous do-land starts in this case. I'm just going to slow the sim down a little, restart my mission, and okay, so our copter is heading out along the leg, and okay, now we need to Auto RTL. So it's going to search through those do-land starts. It's found the closest one, which in this case was on 23, and now it's heading back along that path, and it's going to come in and land. So if I'm quick enough, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it back into auto, going along this waypoint. What I want to do is illustrate one of the sort of the foibles of this. Is if we Auto RTL closer to a waypoint which is heading further out, in this case 21, the copter will continue to go out to that waypoint before heading back. So it's worth remembering that in your mission planning, that if you want to be sort of conservative about how much extra distance that your vehicle would fly, you want a few more waypoints with a few more do-land starts in that case. Okay, so I think that sort of nicely illustrates what that behavior is. Just to make sure that it's absolutely concrete, what I want to do is just show what happens if we remove all of the many do-land starts and just put it at the end, just to make sure that that point is well made. So I've got a mission. Okay, so basically, same mission. The only difference is I haven't got those many do-land starts now. I've only got the one. And that one is out here. So if we make sure let's go into auto and arm. Okay, now with our copter on its way, if I set Auto RTL now, what will happen is it's going to go to the first do-land start. So in this case, the aircraft is now overflying that sensitive area. So hopefully that illustrates my point around needing those do-land starts to follow the waypoints all the way down on that return path. Just to avoid any confusion, I don't actually have fence switched on, so that's why the aircraft was able to fly through that fence there. I'm just using them purely for illustrative purposes, yeah. Okay, so there's one final thing that I would like to illustrate, because I think many will then go, well, why do I need to put so many do-land starts in? Now, the reason for that is because the do-land start flag is actually a very powerful tool which allows much more complicated missions. So I just want to illustrate that point. So I've got another one. So let's load. So this time, what we're going to do is, let's say we don't want our vehicle to come back all the way down this path in the event of a battery failsafe. And let's say we've recce'd the area and we know that there is a safe flying area down here and there's a safe flying area over here, but we're still surrounded in sensitive areas. So in this example, this is a way of effectively programming kind of procedural approaches to what would effectively be a rally point. Because you could do rally points out at these points, but the aircraft will fly direct line straight to those points, which means it might overfly sensitive areas. So the advantage of the do land start is that we're actually able to sort of set up lots of little mission legs and jump to those and go and land at those locations. So just to explain a little bit how this mission is set up. So the first part of the mission is exactly the same as what I'd shown before, effectively, and that comes to this point here. What I've then done is added some extra mission legs coming off the end. So we have a do land start and then waypoint 30, which is here. And then it goes waypoint, waypoint, land. And then I have another do land start, in which case which is then going on to waypoint 35. And then it goes waypoint, waypoint, land. So what we will do then is we'll get the aircraft to fly up and we'll do the sort of survey, and then we'll sort of simulate a battery failsafe. So let's make sure we're in auto. Okay, so that's on. Let's speed it up a little bit. Okay, so our copter's merrily going along, but we've slightly misjudged how much battery we needed, or it's slightly windier than we expected, so we end up in a battery failsafe. That puts us into our Auto RTL, and now the vehicle has found the do land start, which is closest to it, which is this one here, which leads on to waypoint 35. So now our aircraft is going to go here, and it will fly that approach, avoiding any sort of sensitive areas, and then landing. There we go. Oh. Hopefully that makes all those points clear and means that Auto RTL and how the do land failsafe stuff works is clear as well. So a final couple of points just to make sure that they are clear. So there's obviously a distance calculation being done when the vehicle is trying to find the distance to the closest do land start. I just wanted to highlight that. So that distance is a three-dimensional distance where possible. So by that, it's x, y, and z, and the length of that distance between the two to its current position on the waypoint. And where possible, that calculation also tries to account for changes in altitude frame. So, for example, let's say you have a mission with a mix of relative and terrain waypoints. Provided that all of the tiles for your mission, your terrain tiles for the mission are loaded, then it will do that calculation on a 3D basis, so based on the height as well. If terrain is usually the tricky one, and it's if you haven't got that information loaded on the vehicle because you haven't got an internet connection and you hadn't preloaded the tiles, for example. If it can't do that 3D distance calculation, then it will do a 2D distance calculation. So there's a little bit of subtlety there that I just wanted to make sure was clear to everybody that wants to use this feature. So thanks for listening.